China wrote an open letter to Bild, Germany's largest newspaper, saying they don't appreciate being blamed for the Wuhan virus. The spokeswoman for China's embassy, Dao Lil, wrote on the embassy website, the Jerusalem Post reported. I followed your reporting on the corona pandemic in general and China's alleged guilt in particular today. Apart from the fact that we consider it a pretty bad style to blame a country for a pandemic that is affecting the whole world and then to present an explicit account of alleged Chinese debts to Germany, the article ignores some essential facts. Bild's editor-in-chief, Julian Reichelt, decided to respond to China's letter with a video, addressing each of the regime's issues and why it's fair to pit the global crisis on China. President Xi Jinping, your embassy in Berlin has addressed me in an open letter because we asked in our newspaper, Bild, whether China should pay for the massive economic damage the virus is inflicting worldwide. Please, let me respond. According to the journalist, Jinping wouldn't be president without his use of surveillance because China monitors every citizen's actions but refuses to monitor the country's wet markets. Reichelt said. You shut down every newspaper and website that is critical of your rule, but not the stores where bat soup is sold. You're not only monitoring your people, you're endangering them, and with them, the rest of the world. Reichelt explained that Jinping's ruling and monitoring stifles creativity and invention, which is why China is the #1 country in the world for intellectual and property theft. He said, China enriches itself with the inventions of others instead of inventing on its own. The reason China does not create and innovate is that you do not let the young people in your country think freely. China's greatest export, that nobody wanted to have, but which has nevertheless gone around the world, is corona virus. You, your government, and scientists had to know long ago that corona is highly infectious, but you left the world in the dark about it. Your top experts didn't respond when Western researchers asked to know what was going on in Wuhan. You were too proud and too nationalistic to tell the truth, which you felt was a national disgrace, and now, which became a global disaster. Reichelt brought up a valid point. It has been reported that the Wuhan virus came from a lab, where the Chinese were testing and studying the virus in bats. Why weren't the labs secure? Why weren't they as secure as the prisons China holds political prisoners in? The journalist pointed out. You have created inscrutable, non-transparent China. Before corona, China was known as a surveillance state. Now, China is known as a surveillance state that infected the world with a deadly disease. That is your political legacy. Reichelt was right in calling out China for their blatant lies and cover-ups that resulted in this pandemic. China lied to protect their public image, and what happened? Thousands of people died, and China still has a less than stellar reputation. China wanted to be looked at as some great country, but they can't even fulfill their moral obligation to alert the world to a public health crisis that goes beyond its citizens and its borders. That's not even taking into account the country's humanitarian issues and lack of freedoms. That's a whole other story. On top of it, China recruited the World Health Organization to cover up their wrongdoings and lies by downplaying what was taking place. Instead of taking Taiwan's alert seriously, the World Health Organization turned a blind eye. And now the world is paying for it.